In the deep forest, the cold night crept like the breath of a hidden dragon. On the tallest branch of an ancient oak perched an old owl named Orlon, his round amber eyes gleaming like glass marbles. He had spent decades watching over the forest, learning every rustle of leaf and shadow of moonlight. That night, he heard something unusual, not the wind, but a whisper. It seemed to be coming from under the twisted roots of an ancient tree. "What is that sound?" Orlon murmured, tilting his head. He spread his wings and glided silently to the base of the tree. From beneath a thick layer of dust and fallen leaves, a warm amber glow shone faintly. Brushing the leaves aside, Orlon found a leather-bound book cracked with age, its cover engraved with a symbol, a single eye within 3 concentric rings. Etched below were strange words: the Codex of Aranthes. A spell book? Orlon touched it gently. The cover felt warm, as if it had a heartbeat. Just then, a moth fluttered into a spider's web nearby. Orlon plucked it free with his beak. "Off you go, little one. Mind the wind tonight." The moth circled him once, as if in gratitude, before flying away. At that moment, the book shivered softly and loosened its ancient clasp. Orlon opened the first cage. Strange vine-like letters curled across the parchment, and at the top a warning was written. "Do not open with greedy hands. Do not close with a fearful heart." "I'm not greedy, only curious," Orlon whispered. He flipped through the pages. The chapter of wind, the chapter of water, the gate of light, the trance of memory. Each page smelled faintly of tree resin and the first rain of spring. He could almost hear the voice of an elder teaching spells in a long-forgotten tongue. A small voice interrupted his thoughts. "Mr. Orlon, what are you doing out here so late?" It was Rissy, a young squirrel peeking out from a nearby bush. "Reading," Orlon smiled. "A book that can read you back." Rissy's eyes sparkled. "Wow! Will you tell me the story?" "Tomorrow," Orlon chuckled. "Tonight I'll finish the first chapter." As he closed the book, the glow lingered on his wingtips. Somewhere in the dark, the whole forest seemed to be listening, and the old spellbook had truly awoken. The next morning, the sky was pale and dry. The creek bed, usually lively, had dwindled to a thin silver thread. Rissy dashed toward Orlon, her tail bristling. "Mr. Orlon, the spring near the chipmunk's den is dry. The little ones have nothing to drink." Orlon hurried to the stony bank where he found a young weasel panting and Flute, the gibbon, holding an empty coconut shell. "Not a single drop," Flute sighed. Opening the codex, Orlon found the symbol of a water droplet, the chapter of water. "Call the clouds to weave, the drops to gather." He shut his eyes and spoke slowly. "Amiras, aqueren, tula." Let the wind lift the mist, let the clouds weave cotton, let the sky stitch the rain. For a moment, silence. The forest seemed to hold its breath. Then, a chill rose from the stones, curling into silver mist. Soft winds pushed the mist upward, where it thickened into a billowing white cloud. "Rain!" Rissy squealed. Raindrops pattered on leaves like 1,000 tiny hands clapping. Animals ran out with bowls, leaves, and shells to collect it. Flute tilted his head back, laughing. "It's sweet, like honey." But as the rain stopped, Orlan paused. Strange, I can't quite remember the smell of my favorite flowers. The codex shimmered, and new words bled onto the margin. Every spell has its price. It's fine, just a small thing, Orlan told himself, though he tucked the warning away in his mind. Later that day, trouble struck again. A fawn was trapped in a muddy bog. Flute yelled for help. Orlan flipped to the chapter of vines, summoning soft tendrils to weave a cradle and lift the fawn to safety. "Thank you, Mr. Orlan," the fawn whispered. "Thank the forest, too," Orlan replied. That evening, Rissy brought him a pouch of wild nuts. "A reward," she chirped. "Keep them for your friends," Orlan smiled. But when he looked up at the moon, something was missing. He could no longer remember the lullaby he used to hum to it. Days passed, and the forest thrived again. But one night, the horizon behind Mount Skyfall glowed crimson. A deep rumble rolled through the earth. "What's that sound?" gasped Whitequill, the hedgehog. Old Grandfather Tortoise crawled into view. "Many decades ago, that mountain breathed fire. If it wakes again, this forest will be nothing but ashes." Panic spread. The deer leader Branchcorn called a meeting at the stone clearing. "We must evacuate, but the northern tunnel is blocked by a rock slide from the Great Drought." Flute smung down from a tree. "We can dig another." "Too slow," Grandfather Tortoise shook his head. "The winds tell me we have little time." Rissy clutched Orlan's wing. "What will we do?" Orlan swallowed and opened the codex. Pages he'd read before were darker now, as if dusted with coal. A new one emerged, the Gate of Light. The drawing showed a great arch of stone lit from within. A golden warning lined the bottom. To open the path, the caster must surrender what binds their heart, their deepest memories. Orlan froze. He thought of his mother in their old hollow, the smell of his father's feathers on the night of his first storm, his childhood friends. These memories were lanterns in his chest. "I may have to lose them," he whispered. "No!" Rissy cried. "There has to be another way." Orlan searched for alternatives. The circle of wind could shift wildfire smoke, but it was useless against a volcano. That night, the entire forest worked to prepare. Elephants dragged logs to make bridges. Squirrels stitched green flags from bamboo leaves as markers. The gibbons gathered fruit for the journey. Orlan read every page of the codex again. The whispering voice returned, clearer than ever. The bearer must choose: survive with emptiness, or perish with all memories intact. Orlan looked up at the stars. "Then I choose to be empty."
At dawn, the volcano roared. Flames leapt into the sky. Ash choked the air, and boiling streams hissed across the earth. "To the fluttering meadow!" Flute shouted. Orlan flew ahead, opening the codex against the roaring wind. He summoned a dome of wind to shield the animals from falling ash, and a mist armor to keep the grass damp. Each spell tore another memory from his mind like feathers plucked in a storm. "Mr. Orlan, you're pale," Rissy panted. "I can manage," he smiled faintly. "Keep the little ones in the center." With his talon, Orlan carved a glowing arch into the earth. 2 stone pillars rose like giants' hands, and a crack in the ground began to glow. He spoke the ancient words, "Arenthus lumen via, let light become the path, let earth become the bridge, let the traveler survive the fire." A solid arch of shimmering stone appeared. Beyond it lay safe forest pastures. "Go!" Branchhorn pushed the deer forward. Rissy led the squirrel kits through. Whitequill rolled into a ball and tumbled across. Flute swung with 2 orphan chicks under his arm. A mother fox turned back. My kit! Her smallest was tangled in burning vines. Orlan dove, sliced the vines with a vine-summoning spell, and freed the kit. The flames scourged his wing, but he shouted, "Go! Through the gate!" "What about you?" Rissy cried. "I hold the gate till the last one passes," Orlan said, though his head felt hollow, memories draining away like water from a cracked shell. When the last elephant crossed, Orlan turned to follow, but the gate trembled, closing. Behind him, the forest flickered between reality and memories. The night sky he used to sing to, the moonlight on his first flight. He drew a deep breath. "What binds my heart? Take it," he whispered, and leapt through. The gate shut with a sound like a sigh. On the safe side, the animals cheered through tears. Rissy ran to catch him. "Do you remember me?" Orlan blinked. Your voice is nice. What's your name?" Rissy bit her lip, but smiled. "It's Rissy, your friend. I'm glad to meet you again," Orlan said softly. The new forest was peaceful, with a stream trickling past gray stones. Everyone worked to rebuild. Branchhorn organized patrols. Flute taught songs to the young ones. Whitequill opened a rolling school to teach self-defense. But each night, Orlan perched on the tallest branch, staring at the moon without words to greet it. The page titled "The Trance of Memory" was now blank. Rissy sat beside him with a pine nut. "Want to hear how we met?" "I'd like to, but I'm afraid I'd hurt you again," Orlan said honestly. "Then we'll pretend it's a new game. I'm Rissy. Once I hid acorns in Elephant Com's boots. Did he get mad?" From below came Com's voice. "Not mad. I laughed." Every evening, Rissy gathered friends to talk with Orlan, retelling old stories as if they were new. Together, they drew a memory map on palm leaves. The smell of morning rain, the sound of a fawn's laugh, the feel of damp earth after a storm. One cloudy night, the meadow was silent. "Why no crickets?" Orlan asked. "They hide before heavy rain," Rissy said. "Silence can be our friend, too." Orlan closed his eyes. The words touched him. In the quiet, he realized, without the past, each day was a blank page to write kindness on. Every act of help today would be tomorrow's memory for someone else. When a swarm of bees built a hive too close to the wren's nests, Orlan didn't use magic. He listened, translated the bees' buzzing, and guided them to a flower field instead. "See, you can help without spells," Flute cheered. That night, Orlan hid the codex beneath the 2 stone pillars where the gate had once stood. He cast a small charm. "Let it be heavy to greed, light to mercy." "You're not going to use it anymore?" Rissy asked. "Only if truly needed. We should grow strong without leaning on it." Months passed. The forest thrived. On the highest branch, Orlan began humming a tune, not an old one, but one born from the laughter of the day. Years passed gently, like moss growing over stone. The volcano's story became a bedtime tale, and the young ones always begged Rissy to tell it. "What did the Gate of Light look like?" a young squirrel asked. "Like a rainbow made of stone," Rissy said. "Running through it made every hair stand with hope." "Was Mr. Orlan afraid?" a fledgling asked. "Probably, but he was braver than his fear." One evening, the animals held a small gathering at the stone clearing. Everyone brought something to honor the day they survived: a drop of honey, a fragrant pine cone, a bundle of herbs. Orlan glided down quietly. Branchhorn bowed his head. "We live today because you gave up yesterday." Orlan smiled, and for a heartbeat he saw faint images: his mother by a fire, a friend's wing brushing his, a lullaby in his chest. He couldn't catch the words, but the warmth was unmistakable. Rissy handed him the old memory map, so you'll never get lost, even on the darkest night. "Thank you," Orlan said. "This map will guide me anywhere." Flute shouted, "A song! A song!" Orlan closed his eyes and hummed the tune he had once forgotten, now reborn. The stars seemed closer. The whole clearing fell silent, warmed by the sound. After the gathering, Orlan took Rissy to the stone pillars. He touched them, and the protective charm lifted. The codex rose from the earth. "Why take it out?" Rissy asked. "To return it to the forest. The book belongs to no one. It chooses its bearer. Tonight, I want it to choose everyone." He opened to the once blank Trance of Memory page. Slowly, words appeared, not of Orlan's memories, but of everyone's. The day Elephant Calm built a bridge, the day Whitequill gave up his prettiest quills to make a nest for orphan chicks, the day Flute shielded frog eggs from a storm. The forest's shared history had become the spell's true power. "See, the book learns, just like us," Rissy smiled. Yes, Orlan wrote one line on the page. "May this forest remember kindness more than fear." He closed the codex and buried it beneath the roots again. If the forest ever needs it, it will rise again. But next time, I hope the one who finds it will be a small one who dares to ask and dares to listen. "Like me?" Rissy pointed at herself. "Like you every day," Orlan chuckled. That gentle night, they sat listening to the forest breathe. A moth fluttered above the stone pillars, the same kind Orlan had once freed. It landed on his wingtip, bowing its head. "Is it you?" Orlan whispered. He didn't know if he remembered or simply felt he had saved it before, but the feeling was clear and kind. Years later, when young animals asked Rissy why they had a safe home, she pointed to the tallest oak. "Because an owl once gave up his dearest memories so we could share memories together that matter even more." Orlan had grown older, slower, but his eyes were brighter. He never sought to reclaim what he'd given up, because what he'd gained was far greater. A heart wide enough to hold everyone's story. Some nights, he still hummed that tune, the one born from today, not yesterday. And each time he did, the forest seemed just a little brighter, as if there was a sound of light in every act of help, every hand offered, every heart willing to sacrifice. Moral: in the face of disaster, no magic is more sacred than the courage to act for the greater good. Sacrifice may take something precious from us, but it can open a path for hope to live on. And the greatest memories are not the ones we keep in our heads, but the ones we leave in the hearts of those we save.